Growing up, my brother Marcus and I were inseparable. We shared dreams, late-night talks, and the kind of bond people envied. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Marcus started caring more about appearances, about status, about what other people thought. I chose a different path. I stayed quiet. I worked in the shadows. And that choice led us to one unforgettable night at his promotion party, where everything between us shattered and rebuilt itself in ways neither of us saw coming. I never imagined that the person who knew me best would become the one who hurt me most deeply. Before I take you through what happened that night, let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments. And if you have ever felt invisible in your own family, this story might hit close to home. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because what happened next, nobody saw coming. Trust me, you will want to stick around for this one. Marcus and I grew up in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon. Our father worked as a postal clerk up before dawn every morning, home after dark. Our mother was a nurse at the local hospital, pulling double shifts whenever she could. They worked hard to give us a decent life, and we knew it. Marcus was 3 years older than me, and from the moment he could walk, he owned every room he entered. Tall, broad-shouldered, with thick dark brown hair, and a smile that made people trust him instantly. He was the kind of kid who got picked first for every team, who teachers loved, who neighbors praised. I was different. Shorter, thinner, with reddish hair and freckles scattered across my nose. I preferred books to basketball, computers to crowds. While Marcus was winning games and collecting trophies, I was in my room reading about tech startups and teaching myself to code. Our parents loved us both. I know they did. But attention has a way of flowing toward the loudest voice, the brightest light. And Marcus was both. I remember one Thanksgiving when I was 12, and Marcus was 15. He had just earned a full athletic scholarship to a prestigious high school program. The whole family gathered around the dinner table, raising glasses, congratulating him. My grandmother squeezed his cheeks. My uncle clapped him on the back. I sat at the end of the table with my report card in my lap. Straight A's, including advanced mathematics, which I had worked incredibly hard to achieve. I waited for a pause in the celebration, then slid the paper toward my mother. She glanced at it, smiled briefly, and said, "That is wonderful, honey," before turning back to Marcus. That was the moment I first understood what it meant to be invisible. Not hated, not disliked, just unseen. And I told myself it was okay. I did not need the spotlight. After high school, Marcus went to State University and studied marketing. He graduated with decent grades, landed a job at a large marketing firm in Seattle, and climbed steadily. He loved everything about corporate life. The suits, the business cards, the office politics, the social media posts showing off his success. Within 2 years, he made junior manager. 4 years after that, senior manager. Our parents could not have been prouder. My mother told every neighbor. My father kept Marcus's business card in his wallet. I took a different route. I went to a smaller school and double majored in computer science and business. But halfway through my junior year, I dropped out. I had an idea for a tech startup, and I could not wait any longer. I wanted to build something real. My parents were devastated. "You are throwing away your future," my mother said, tears in her eyes. My father just shook his head, silent disappointment radiating from him. And Marcus, he laughed. "Another dropout thinking he is Steve Jobs," he said at Sunday dinner, loud enough for everyone to hear. So I stopped talking about it. I moved into a tiny studio apartment, ate ramen noodles for breakfast and dinner, and coded 18 hours a day. I built the first version of my platform in that cramped space, surrounded by empty coffee cups and tangled charging cables. I had no funding, no team, just an idea, and the stubbornness to see it through. Slowly, very slowly, it started working. I brought on a couple of freelance developers. Then a small investor noticed us. Then another. By year 3, we had 20 employees. By year 5, we had 200. But I kept quiet. I did not post about it. I did not brag at family dinners. When people asked what I did, I said I work in tech and left it at that. My family assumed I was still struggling, still trying to make something out of nothing. And I let them think it. Maybe I was scared of the attention. Maybe I did not want to compete with Marcus anymore. Or maybe I just wanted to prove to myself that I could build something meaningful without needing applause. Then one Friday afternoon, I got an email from Marcus. The subject line read, "Big news." I opened it. He had just been promoted to director of marketing at his new company, a tech startup in Seattle called Tech Vision Solutions. He was ecstatic. The email was long full of exclamation points, talking about how this was the culmination of years of hard work and dedication. He was throwing a party that Saturday night at a fancy restaurant by the lake. The whole family was invited along with his colleagues and friends. At the end of the email, he added a line that stung more than he probably intended. "You should come, John. It might inspire you to finally get serious about your career." I read that sentence 3 times. Each time it hurt a little more. But what really twisted the knife was the name of his company. Tech Vision Solutions. I knew that name well. I founded it 3 years ago. It started as a side project, something I thought might help small businesses manage their operations more efficiently. It grew faster than I ever imagined. We brought on a COO, Sarah, who handled most of the public-facing work. I stayed behind the scenes, kept my legal name off. Press releases avoided conferences and media appearances. I did not want attention. I wanted to build. So when Marcus got hired 6 months ago, he had no idea his younger brother, the so-called dropout, was the one signing off on budgets, approvals, and yes, his promotion. I sat there staring at that email for a long time. Part of me wanted to tell him the truth right then. But another part, the part that had spent years being underestimated, wanted to see how this would play out. I wanted to know what Marcus really thought of me. So I decided to go to the party and keep my mouth shut, at least for a little while. Saturday evening arrived cold and clear. I drove across town to the Lakeside Terrace, an upscale restaurant perched on the edge of Lake Washington. The kind of place with valet parking, white tablecloths, and a wine list thicker than a phone book. I wore a simple navy blue suit, white shirt, no tie. Nothing flashy. I wanted to blend in. When I walked through the glass doors, I was hit by the warm glow of chandeliers, the soft murmur of conversation, and the smell of expensive food. The main dining area had been reserved for Marcus's party. Around 50 people milled about holding champagne flutes, laughing, congratulating him. I spotted my parents near the windows. My mother wore a lovely dark green dress, and my father had on his good suit, the one he saved for weddings and funerals. They looked proud. Marcus stood in the center of the room, the star of the show. He wore a sharp black suit with a silk tie, his hair perfectly styled, his smile wide and confident. Next to him was his girlfriend Diane, tall, blonde, elegant, in a sleek red dress. She worked in human resources at another firm, and carried herself with the kind of polished professionalism that made you feel slightly underdressed. I walked over to my parents first. My mother saw me, and her face lit up. "Oh, John, you made it." But then she looked me up and down and added, "You should have dressed up more, honey." My father nodded absently and turned back to a conversation he was having with one of Marcus's colleagues. I swallowed the familiar sting and moved toward Marcus. He spotted me and waved me over. "Little bro," he called out loud enough for people nearby to hear. "Glad you could take time off from whatever it is you are doing these days." His tone was light, joking, but there was an edge underneath. Diane smiled politely, gave me a quick once-over, then turned her attention elsewhere. I found a quiet spot near the bar, ordered a water, and watched. About 20 minutes later, someone clinked a glass. The room quieted. Marcus stepped up onto a small platform near the window's, microphone in hand. He looked out at the crowd, soaking in the moment. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began. "This promotion means the world to me." He launched into a speech about his journey, about climbing the corporate ladder, about hard work and ambition. "It takes drive," he said, his voice strong and sure. "It takes showing up every single day, ready to give everything you have got." He thanked Tech Vision Solutions, calling it an incredible company with an amazing vision. He thanked his colleagues, his friends, his girlfriend. Then he thanked our parents. "Mom, Dad, thank you for teaching me the value of commitment and perseverance." And then his eyes found me in the crowd. He paused. "And to my little brother John." His voice softened, but not in a kind way. In a pitying way. "I hope one day you will find your path too. It is never too late to figure things out." A few people chuckled. Some looked over at me with sympathetic smiles. Marcus kept going. "Success is about making smart choices. Education, stability, growth, not chasing pipe dreams." He raised his glass. "Here is to hard work, real careers, and making our families proud." Everyone clapped. Glasses lifted. I stood there holding my water, forcing a smile, feeling the weight of every eye that glanced my way. After the speech, people went back to eating and mingling. I thought about leaving. Just slipping out quietly, going home, pretending this night never happened. But then Marcus appeared beside me, Diane, on his arm flanked by two of his colleagues. A guy named Brian, the sales lead, with slicked back black hair and a trimmed beard, and a woman named Amy, the product manager, with short brown hair and black framed glasses. "Hey, John Marcus," said grinning. "Come meet my team. Guys, this is my younger brother." Brian extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, man." "What do you do?" I shook his hand. "I work in tech." Amy adjusted her glasses. "Oh, cool. Which company?" I hesitated. "Just a small operation. Nothing fancy." Marcus jumped in laughing. "John has been working on his startup for years now. Still waiting for it to take off, right, bro?" I kept my face neutral. "Something like that." Diane tilted her head, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Oh, that is so brave. Startups are so risky. Most of them fail, do they not?" Marcus nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly. That is why I chose stability. Director level at TechVision. That is real success." Brian chimed in. "TechVision is incredible, dude. We are scaling fast. Just hit 2 million in quarterly revenue." I bit my tongue. 2 million. We actually hit 20 million last quarter, but sure, Brian, go on. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder, his grip firm, almost condescending. "John, I am saying this because I care about you." He looked me straight in the eye. "Get your life together."